Okay, so some of you may have been wondering how I got into comics in the first place. Well, that's a bit of an interesting story. A long time ago, when I was a little kid, I was obsessed with Batman, Tim Burton's Batman movie, and that was my favorite movie. As soon as I saw that movie, I saw it again and again and again, and I was a die-hard Batman fan ever since. And one day, my cousin took me and my sister over to the Natural History Museum, where I had a great time, and that was the first time I saw big model dinosaurs in this, like robots, and they were just moving and making sound effects and things like that. It was such an awesome adventure, and that was the first day I discovered KFC, and that was when KFC became one of my favorite foods at the time because I just really liked fried chicken. But before we went into that, but before we had dinner, my cousin bought me this comic. That was when I had my first ever Batman comic, which was this one. It was actually summer of 1994. I mean, up until that point, I had no idea that Batman was a comic. I mean, to me, comics were just, like cartoons. I mean, prior to that, I only saw, the Beano and the Dandy, and to me, they just seemed a bit babyish. I thought, well, these are just cartoons. So I just thought, well, if I want to see cartoons, I want to see them moving. But little did I know that I had no idea that Batman was based on a comic. And then I started reading through this, and it was just some of the artwork. It was more serious. It was just sort of fighting and some good action in there. And then this is where I discovered that there was another graphic novel being released called The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. And that's how I discovered him. He is right here somewhere. Let me see if I can find him. Like, I read this article here about The Killing Joke, and I thought, oh my god, this is really cool. Like, we actually have a proper origin story for the Joker. This is so cool. And then I started reading about other Alan Moore's literature. And then I went and bought The Killing Joke. This, to me, is another one of his masterpieces. I thought, wow, how I discovered the origin of the Joker and how he became the Joker. And I liked how Tim Burton became I like how Tim Burton was quite accurate in his depiction of how he falls into a tank of acid. And I'm not sure why he left out the Red Hood aspect of it, but it doesn't matter. It was still very well done. And since then, I've been addicted to Alan Moore's work. So then, I was a big hero fan anyway, because apart from Batman, I was also a big fan of Superman. And once I've discovered Alan Moore, I had to read another one, Watchmen. This, to me, messed up my brain, and this is full of the best writing and artwork that I've ever seen. I mean, and the way the color palettes look, and the way the story went, and everything has this sort of pattern going on where, for example, how it goes from one panel, goes all red, and then it goes to another one. And there are lots of little things in here that I just love looking at. And I've been a big, massive comic fan ever since. So, this is how I got into comics.